Welcome to Mod Potential, where we take a look at a blaster not for what it is, but for what it could be. And today, we're going to take a look at the rival Khaos. Now, the first thing you see about this blaster is this thing is huge. It has a 40 round clip that goes in here, magazine that goes in here. It has, it's a flywheel blaster. You get your flywheels up here, your battery compartment here. It's huge. Everything about this blaster is just big. And that's kind of the first thing when we're looking from a modding perspective at this blaster. The first thing is you've got a lot of space to do a lot of different things with this. The battery, to start with, the battery compartment, you can fit any LiPo of any size you want in here. This thing takes stock, it takes 6D batteries, and the space, and they come in a slide out tray. So the space that you've got in here for putting a LiPo, whatever you want to get in here, you've got all the space that you'll ever need. Now, again, I said this is a flywheel blaster, and so that puts us into a category of modifications where you're looking at how the rounds go through that. And again, this is a rivals blaster, so you're talking about rounds, you're not talking about darts, and that also impacts what you can do with this blaster because the rounds have different flight characteristics than darts do. Darts tend to be optimized for distance, where the rounds tend to be more accurate than the Nerf darts do. So when you're looking at modifications for this one, you're looking at a blaster that can hit things at a decent range, but you're also looking at something that's going to be a little bit of more of a mid-range blaster. So this is a flywheel blaster, and this gets to the point when you start looking at it as a flywheel. It gets to the point where something really positive and kind of negative at the same time when it comes to these flywheels. The motors that come with the stock Khaos and its younger brother, the Zeus, are very good motors. The 6D batteries aren't anywhere close to being able to drive these motors. And so if you hook them up to a 3S LiPo, these things really hum. And from a positive side, you can do a great modification from a flywheel perspective just by putting a 3S LiPo in here. The downside to these motors is they're a different size than what's normally available for most Nerf modifications. And worse yet, the flywheels, the way that they're attached, they don't come off without breaking the flywheels. And right now, as the time of I'm putting this video together, there aren't any really good aftermarket flywheels that you could put onto a Khaos or a Zeus. So you're kind of stuck with the motors and the flywheels that come with this thing. Again, they're very good motors, they're very good flywheels, but there's no way to modify, there's no way to change that out. The only thing you can do is apply different voltages to it from a 2S to a 3S to I know 4S, potentially LiPo. I probably would burn the motors on the 4S. But you're kind of stuck. So you've got something with a lot of potential, but you can't really change it out. Now, the other thing that, and this, in my opinion, the thing that really makes this Khaos stand out is the feeding mechanism. It's a different feeding mechanism than anything else that we've gotten before out of Nerf or anything else for that matter. It's a little bit, it has some similarities to the Hyperfire with the drive that has a little tooth that comes through. But this is actually a full-on Caterpillar drive. So think about a tank track, and you get a picture of exactly what's going on. The clip feeds up in here, and it pushes up in the bottom, and the rounds come up through the clip, and they make contact with what looks very much like a tank track underneath there. And that tank track then is turned by a motor, and it pushes the rounds into the flywheels based on that. So when you rev it up, you pull the trigger, it starts that Caterpillar turning, and then it sends the rounds in here. And it sounds like it's not as good a mechanism as some of the others we've had, like say the Rapid Strike, where you have that pusher with a full control. But for rounds, it actually works really, really well. You can get good high rates of fire, and you can also control it with braking on the motor. Again, it's a bigger motor than what we're used to. It's got good characteristics. It can brake. Now that motor can be replaced, unlike the flywheel, but so you can change out your firing rate, matching your voltage of whatever LiPo that you want to run by putting a different, I know You can put a Rhino, you can put 130, you can kind of size it, you can with some minor adjustments, you can squeeze some of the normal modding motors that Nerf has in here. So anyways, looking at this thing, you got lots of space, you've got good motors, but you're stuck with them, and you've got a pretty decent firing mechanism with that Caterpillar drive on there. So overall, I'm giving the Rival Khaos 4 out of 5 Rival rounds. This is a good blaster. This has a lot of modification potential. So anyways, this has been Mod Potential for the Rival Khaos. Thanks for watching.